Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight I'm going to show you the Tkinter GUI framework for Python. If you want to create a full client application, a thick client, then in Python, then this is a perfect library to use. Let us just jump right into it. First of all, the name Tkinter comes from because it is an interface for TK, and TK is actually a framework that is actually built on top of all of our operating systems. So that means there's actually a TK GUI tool or framework for Mac, for Linux, and also for Windows. And the same with Tkinter. It's actually built. It's usually distributed with the Python version that you have, so you can actually just use it out of the box. You do not need to have any libraries at all. Before we get started, let me just tell you that I'm using WSL, but since this is a something with GUI, a UI, then I would definitely recommend you to place the project on your Windows session instead, on your Windows machine, and then use the Python that you have installed on your Windows machine and not on your WSL. And the reason is that we need a UI to pop up, and the UI it is quite ugly, and you will not get access to all of the fonts if you try to have a WSL set up. It's just just little notes. It's not impossible to run WSL, but it looks much better with clean Windows or Mac in this situation right here. Of course, if you're running clean Ubuntu, then there's no problem at all either. Okay, first of all, I've created this project right here by pressing File, New Projects, and then I chose a pure Python program, and I'm using virtual environment. And I have my dependencies in this requirements.txt right here. I'm using Pillow to handle some image, to handle my images, to load my images, and to convert them into the TK image format. I have downloaded a lot of images right here, I have some images right here for 9 images from the Pixabay. And they're all free to use, also commercially. That I ensured that. And that's actually it. So let us get started. First of all, we have 3 different ways to arrange our components or widgets, as it's called with Tkinter, and that is with the pack. We can place them, and we can use the grid. The place is a layout manager where we place our widgets by X and Y coordinates. That means that exact pixels, like we can see here, or with relative location from something else. Like here we have a relative X value of 10% from wherever we place this widget inside, because we can use frames to organize our widgets, which makes it very flexible, and we can actually create whichever UI we want with both having these 3 techniques: place, pack, and grid, and also by using the frames where we can arrange and organize our widgets as we wish to. The program itself is very easy. You can just you need to create a root like this. This is kind of the root, the main window, and there you can place a title if you want to, and then you can have a canvas. A canvas is a place where you would draw stuff. It's not always you need the canvas. Sometimes you just need the widgets. I've added the canvas right here, and I've set the width and the height to 800 and 600, and then I'm placing it at position 0 and 0, and I've set the background color right here to yellow. And as soon as we initialize and create a new canvas, and this actually counts for all of the widgets, then we always say which parent do we want to organize this and place this inside. So there's a hierarchy where we always, the important thing is always which parent do we want to place this widget in, and then the next thing that is important, we need to say where and how should the layout manager place this widget inside that parent. So those are the 2 things, and as you can see right here, we have a label. Again, I create a label, and I want to place it inside the root. The root window right here, that is the parent that is root. And then I set the text value right here, hello, this is placed. and then I define a font. The fonts, I'll show you how to actually get a list of all of the available fonts, but the font is actually just a tuple. You can also just give it a name or a size, then that property will then be used. But if you want to give them both the family name, the font family, and also the size, then you give it a tuple like this, and I've given it Arial and then size 40. Then I'm placing this at position, exact position, pixel x200 and pixel y200 also. And then I have a second label, and this is just to show you that, and the label is kind of the same. There's just some other text right here. I just want to show that this can be placed with relative x and y values instead. This means that it will always be in the middle of the screen because it's relative y will be 50%. That means 50% down on the screen. This is 10% from the left side because it's have a relative value of 0.1. That is the same as 10%. Then this is my main loop. This is what actually makes my program not exit right when we come right here. So the program will actually stop right here, and then it will pause right here or run here, and it will not come further before we press the quit. Before we quit, press the X in the corner right there. But enough talk. Let us try to run this one. Control Shift F10. I'm using PyCharm. I'm using the Ultimate version, but you can just use the Community Edition since we're not using HTML and the CSS support. Here we can actually see it. First of all, we have the exact position of the first label. We see that in the top right there. That's 200 pixels. This is hello. This is placed. That is exactly 200 pixels, and it doesn't matter how I resize my window. It's exactly 200 pixels from the top and from the left. And then we have the other label being placed. That has a relative value. So whenever I'm resizing the window, then it will try to it will not try to. It will actually get the exact same relative y and x value as we have set in the definition. So those are the different right there. The place. It's quite cool actually, and especially if you're using frames, then you can actually put all of your parts inside the frames, and then you can actually place your frames relative to each other actually. So yeah, so that is how to place. Then we have the pack. The pack is a way to that is the easiest way to add stuff to the screen. That is by using the pack, because with the pack we just say put it in there, place this widget inside this container, this parent, and then we have something called side. That is if it should be placed, if it should go to the top of that parent or not, or if it should go to the bottom or left or right. That is how it should organize them. And this makes it incredibly easy to just stack widgets horizontally or vertically. In this situation right here, it's vertically. So this is if you're new to Tkinter, then and just want to add some stuff to your root, then just use pack and then side top, and then you can just add extra all the widgets that you want to, and then you will get a result that looks something like this right here. And you can see I've changed the background color just so you could see this, because I've been playing with some padding. You can see I'm adding pad Y and pad X right there. It means that the first label, the red label, it has 10 pixels padding from the previous widget, which is a canvas, and I've changed the canvas size just to 300 and times 300. And then I've given the second label a padding pad Y of 40 pixels, and then it looks like this. And the reason why I give it background colors is just so we can actually see where they start and end, and then we can also see that it's centered. It's just centered right here. And when I resize the window, then it will try to find a suitable location on the screen. But it will still be packed to the top, but in that order that we actually packed our widgets. So if I change the order, then they will appear in another order also. Yeah, that's packed. And then we have the grid way, and I've done a bit more here with the grid because the grid has a lot of features, and actually all of the layout managers has a lot of they have a lot of configuration options that we can set, and it's possible actually to print out that configuration, that all of those configuration keys if you want to. We can also look them up in the documentation, of course. But I don't know, I really like the grids right here. This is a photo application that I made. What it does is that it actually reads which files do I have in my images folder right here, and then I can press this next and previous button, and then I can get each of these images shown. And that's actually it. So it's quite simple. It's quite simple. And what happens if I resize? This is the grid. So here we can actually say we will split our application into a grid, and we can use column spans, and we can also use row spans, and we can also still use frames. The bottom right here is actually a frame that I have, where I have a previous button and the label that says which picture index we are at right now. And then we have a next button in the right side. That is actually a frame by itself. So it's part of the screen. It's always good to build up the screen in minor portions, then it's much easier. And then in the middle we have a frame that handles the picture, and I'm not resizing the picture right now. I could also resize the picture whenever I resize my window, but I'm not doing that in this demonstration right now. I've actually prepared it a bit. You can see there's a lot of spam in the console out here. That's because I'm actually getting an event every time I'm resizing the window. Then I get the width and height of the window. So I have prepared it if I feel like coding a bit more in Tkinter, then I could do that. Let us look at the code a bit, because now I have created a class, and I would definitely recommend, if you are creating an application that is a little larger than just a Hello World application, then I would definitely recommend that you use the object-oriented approach. Create a class. Inside that class, all of the member variables, all of the widgets that you want to manipulate or change, do yourself a favor, create those as member variables, create those as properties right here, like I've done. I have a photo image right here, then I have a logo label, then I have my current picture, a label that shows which index we have right there, then I have a frame image right here also, and then I have some constants right here that I can change. The constants that I can change between each one, of course, but it should not be changed inside. This should not be changed inside the run of the application right here. So I have some padding standard. I have some font size I can change, and that's actually it. Then we have all of the images that we want to show. Those are listed from the images directory. And let us scroll down, because let's actually scroll down in the bottom, because I have this part right here. This is actually where our program starts. It asks, is this from where the Python program is being executed right now? And this is a way to protect other programs. If they are importing this file right here, then nothing would actually happen. But if they are, if the Python interpreter is executing this file right here, then the code will be run, or else it would not. And here it creates a new instance of my application class right here, and then it calls run application. So let us go to run application and see what actually happens. We can see here root tk, so here creates a new root, then it sets the title. We are binding something weird right here, right? That's a bit new. Whenever we want to listen for keystrokes, or if the window has changed, or the mouse is moving around, then we need to bind. Then we use the bind right here. And right now it's configure. If it would be a key press, then we would write key pressed instead right here. And then we need to mention which function that we want to call when a change has been detected. And here we have my function for right now. It just prints out the changes whenever we resize the window. So that is the bind. So then we have, and I'm just printing out some stuff right here. Then I am creating the UI itself. First of all, I have created a frame right here, frame image. That is the that is a frame where the image will be in. And I have set, you can see here, I can set colors by writing color names like blue or yellow or something like that. But I can also give the hash value for that color right there. If you don't know how to get the hash value for a color, then just go to Google and then search for RGB values or something like that. Then you will actually get a little small utility from Google, like where you can actually maybe you can also search for color picker. then you can pick a color, and then you will get this value right here. So then we have the photo image right here. So that means here I'm in instantiate. I'm creating a new TK image TK, and it needs to be an image TK, and that is actually why we imported the pillow for the library, the pillow dependency right here, because I need the TK image and the image to actually load the image in the right format. And that is exactly what I am doing right here. Here I am calling photo image, and then I'm opening up the image from this location right here. Then I am creating the logo label right there. Again, I'm creating a label, and I'm placing it inside the frame image. Again, this is the first argument, is the parent that we want to place this inside. So this is inside frame image. And if we go to our UI, then we can also see that let me just check right here. Logo label. Yeah, logo label. It's because my image is actually placed inside the logo label. I'm using a label to show the image. That's actually the easiest way to show an image. This is through the label, actually, through the label widget. You can also place images on top of buttons if you want to do that. That's of course also possible. Here we have the frame image right here. And here we are calling something. First of all, we add the we set the grid to column 0 and the rows and the row to 0. And again, when you're using the grid layout manager, it can be a good idea to create a small drawing. Maybe have a piece of paper or a small program where you can actually divide and draw your screen into columns and rows. Then you'll get a better overview of which columns should we use and how many columns should be used. Should we just have, in this case, I just have one column? Should we have like 3 columns if that fits maybe that fits your application better? How many rows should we have? In this situation, we have 3 rows. Should there be more? New application, that's of course up to you to decide. But it's good to have a plan to begin with, because then you know the index of these columns and rows. So then we call this one right here. This is to give a weight to the frame image. That means that it will try to take up as much space as possible. X-wise, and it will also do that Y-wise, because we are giving it a weight. This is a relational value right here. So if I say that the frame, image frame has a weight of 1, and if there's a frame beneath the image frame that have a weight of 2, then this frame will take 1 pixel for every time the frame underneath will take 2 pixels. So it's a relative value for how much space that this frame should try to take right here. And here we call the grids on this frame right here. That means that now we are placing it inside the grid outside in the root. This grid that we used right here, that is actually inside the frame. So inside the frame, we are placing this in the column 0 and a row 0. So we will have different grid systems depending on depending on the parent. So it is per parent that we are dealing with these columns and rows here. Then we have something called sticky. That is where should this frame stick? It tries to stick to all of both north, south, east, and west. And that's okay. That just means that it tries to resize itself automatically when we resize the window. Of course, the image will not automatically change size, but the frame will automatically change size. And we have given it a green background, so we can actually see that this happens. That's also why you can see there's some green area that gets bigger or smaller when I am resizing the window right there. Then I'm adding some padding. Always, if you have an application and if you think it looks it doesn't look good, then try to, and you forgot to add padding, add like 10-15 pixels of padding. It always helps a little bit. There's both inner padding and there's also external padding. Per default, this is external padding. You can also write IPaddX, then that would be an inner padding, so that means that then your widgets would become larger. Or they will look larger, yeah. Here we have the header label. So this is the letter. This is a header label in the top of the application, and of course you should try to place the code as it's actually seen on the screen. So I should have placed this code before the image frame. I was just so eager to go ahead. So, but let me just move this code right here. I'll go up and I'll place my code up here instead. It should be so you can actually follow the code and then also look how the screen is being built up. Then we have the frame next preview. This is the frame that is a yellow frame that we see in the bottom right here. Where we have a previous button, a label, which index that we are at right now, and then the next button. So here we have the button previous that I'm creating right here. And again, I always set the parent. We always need to set the parent as the first argument. Then I give it some text, a text value previous. And here we have a new thing. This is command. Every time I press that button, what should happen? You need to write lambda if you have arguments. Then you need to write lambda colon. If you don't have any arguments, then you can just name the function directly. But usually you'd have some kind of argument. In this situation, I want to change the image, and I want to change the image to one down. That means I will take an index lower. And then I set a font, for my button also. And again, it could actually make sense also to have some utilities to generate these buttons for you so they look the same. Maybe you would have a utility, or maybe you could also create your own class that could actually create these buttons where you add some padding and you make them look like you want to. But in this situation right here, now I'm inside the new frame next previous right there. That means that this is the row and column value inside that frame, and that means that we start with row 0 and column 0. Then I'm adding the picture right here. That is the label, so that's the label current picture. I add that right there, and again, this time I stick it to west and east. This means that it would actually also resize automatically if it has a weight. If it does not have a weight, then it would not resize. Button next, button previous right here, and again I set a command equal to lambda self.change image. I'll show you the change image function in just a minute, but here we add that, and here we have those weights that I talked about. If you don't add those weights, then then nothing. Then it would not matter how you actually. Then it will not try to take the space itself. And here I'm actually adding the frame to the root grid, and here I said this is row number 2, and we start with 0, so that means that this is the third row actually, but this is 0, 1, and 2. That means that I'm placing this in the bottom, and I'm placing it at the column 0 because it's the first column, and then we say sticky west, east, north. That is why it will try to take up the space there. And here we have some padding also. And what else? Then here I'm configuring where should we add some weight, where should I put some weight. This is the first column, so column 0 and row 0, and here I say that should get some weight, so it automatically tries to take up the space. Let us try to look at the change image function. Change image function is right there. Here we have the change image function, and I get I have index change right here. That is actually what I get as an argument. That means should we go one down or one up inside the index, and I set the index to current image, and then I add the index change right here. Then I am protecting myself against a too large number. I want an index between 0 and the length -1 of the images that are actually available inside the folder, else we will get in trouble. We'll get in Java it's called an index out of bound. We'll get something like that also in Python. We will get an error no matter what. And here I'm protecting myself for negative values. So that means that when I do a maximum right here, then I will take the maximum value, either 0 or the index. And then I'll print out the index when I'm done with all these checks right here. Of course, these checks right here, those could have been done in one line. It's just to want to be explicit of what is happening. And then I set this current image right here. I set that to the resulting index, so I have that for next time we come to this function. Then it should be just like that, right? Then I get the file name, I find my images to show, and then I get the index, and then I add the path where I know it is located inside. and then I load my photo right here. Here I load my image GK. After loading my image, then I configure and set the image to be equal to that photo. I'm not sure if I need both of those lines actually. Let me just try that. And then I change also the label text to picture number and then the index. So all the things that I changed, it's good practice to have those as member variables or as properties, if you will, on the class. Then it's much easier to change. Let me just try now. It still works, even though we just, so we don't need both. These two lines right here, they are actually doing exactly the same. Let me just try to opposite way right here. Stop the program, let's start again. Yeah, it still works. So we will just set the image like this, and then I'll delete this line right here. And of course you can set all of the properties that you have, those can be set like that. Okay. So that's actually a program. It's not that big. It looks like it's a big program when you just scroll down right here, but it's actually not that much. That is the main application. And then we have when the picture needs to be changed, the image needs to be changed, and then we have the class definition and the imports in the top. I want to show something, and that is how to get all of the fonts out. I have created this application right here. Let's just run it. And no, I've not spent a lot of time on formatting this one right here. We have a button named List Families, and we have a button named Configuration Keys. And if I press List Families, then I'll get all of the fonts available to me right now. And of course, I could choose one of these fonts. And let us do that. That font is actually a bit ugly. So instead of White Latin, then I would use JetBrains Mono. Yeah, stop all programs. So now we have JetBrains Mono instead, and if I press Configuration Keys, then we get all of the keys for a button. So this is all of the things that we can set on a button. There's also something like take focus and wrap length and foreground, background, renew those. But you can see there's a lot of properties that can be set right down. That's actually not that many. I would actually expect more, but that's okay. But those can be printed out easily by... First of all, this time the program is just as a main Python program right here, and there's no protection whether this is the main program or not. I didn't make that this time. Then I have some constants right here, some fonts. Then I'm creating my root. Then I'm creating my button right here, list families. And here I set the command, list fonts. And here I set the command for the other one, list config right here. And then we give the button as an argument. Let us look at the list config right here. It's actually a widget. Let us try to change this to button, just for fun. I think there would be more. Okay, so it's around the same thing. Okay. Oh, it's of course. Of course, I did not change anything because it's the same object that we passes, and then we go and we look for all of the keys inside of our configuration dictionary right here. And then we're printing out all of these right here. And the same with the fonts. We go and we take font.families. That is one way. You need to import the fonts, of course, right here. And then you can print out all of the families that you have, the font families that you can choose from. That's actually it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.